definitely know the most famous map in Minecraft history. SkyBlock is simply a generational game mode that transcends the barrier of time and popularity, spanning videos, games, and countless players. But what if I told you that the creator of SkyBlock might lose the rights to the name of his own map? That's right, abroad people claim Microsoft is stealing SkyBlock, and there's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with the company and other major firms. Today, I'll show how a 2011 zip file sparked a multi-million-dollar war. Marketplace, copies, a locked brand, and a sad creator. To understand this interesting story, we need to discuss NoobCrew, the creator of SkyBlock in 2011. By inventor, I mean he created the idea entirely from scratch, not copied, adapted, or remade. It was an archipelago of nothing, a microscopic island suspended in the void with minimal resources. And the simple question that got everyone hooked, can you survive with this here? It worked so well, it became a phenomenon across generations in Minecraft and other games. Over the years, SkyBlock has accumulated tens of millions of downloads, generated billions of views worldwide, and on top of that, became the most accessed mode on the most popular server on the planet, Hypixel. In other words, we're not talking about just any map. We're talking about one of those rare cases where a community creation becomes so big, so huge that it becomes part of the game's DNA. As if it had always existed, as if it were official from the start. That's why, when someone says Minecraft, a considerable part of the audience automatically thinks of SkyBlock as well. Those who experienced that time know, SkyBlock isn't a data pack or spin-off, it's part of the game's history. And all of this started as just a simple zip file posted on the forum. In September 2011, NoobCrew released the 1.0 in its original, straightforward format. A tiny island in the middle of nowhere, no chance to explore, escape, or have a backup plan. You survive or fall into the void. Curiously, the evolution was nearly instant. Soon after, versions 1.1 and 2.1 were released, featuring what we now see as core SkyBlock elements, the L shape, a secondary island, and nether access. The map was refined very quickly, as if NoobCrew already knew from the beginning that it would be much more than just an experiment. In 2012, he did something that confirmed this idea. He opened a multiplayer server exclusively dedicated to the mode SkyBlockNet, allowing people to experience it together with other players. Most impressively, this server still exists 12 years later, marking a major milestone in the game's history. Out of curiosity, this wasn't the only one. In 2015, on my first computer, I played on a SkyBlock server. There's even a YouTube video about it. 10 years ago, the title was SkyBlock #The Beginning. It was just Leo Super, later known as Amine, beginning his journey on a multiplayer SkyBlock server.
Hey YouTube gang, this is Leo Super speaking.
Someone overseas made a map that people from many places played over the years. NoobCrew's idea inspired animations, seasonal series, challenges, speedruns, and even entire new game modes. Skywars is the most famous, created as a direct spin-off of the original idea. Until now, SkyBlock grew on its own through the community, forums, and YouTube, with no one selling anything under the name. It was that innocent time when Minecraft and the internet felt like a big public square. Everyone creates and copies, but no one took money from the till. But all of that changed in 2019 with the launch of the Minecraft Marketplace, where players can buy and download content created both by Mojang and by partner creators. Companies started to appear selling paid maps under the name SkyBlock. It wasn't inspired by SkyBlock, based on SkyBlock, or a SkyBlock remake. Everything was advertised as SkyBlock as if it was their original, in some cases literally advertised as the only or original SkyBlock. Just like what NoobCrew released 8 years ago, but now it has a price and an official showcase. Because, of course, the marketplace creates this possibility of selling things that maybe other people don't even know exactly what they are. And well, the names of those companies mentioned weren't small. Riselbearers, Sapphire Studios, and others released products titled and described as SkyBlock, earning hundreds of thousands and in some cases millions according to NoobCrew by using the term as if it were theirs. And the irony is that none of this came from the community, from that same open ecosystem he always supported. It was money coming in from the top with Microsoft's official seal, and none of it reached anyone who was really doing it out of love. It's important to clarify that NoobCrew was never against the free use of the name within the community, never sued servers, never took down any reinterpretations. His limit was always simple: don't call something original if it's not yours, and especially don't sell it as if it were When his work became a business with an authenticity label, the story shifted from shared culture to a rather exploitative form of monetized appropriation. When NoobCrew realized that the name SkyBlock was being used commercially as if it didn't have an owner, he did what any sensible creator would do. He rushed to register the trademark in September of 2019, and it's important to repeat. He didn't try to register the idea of a floating island nor the gameplay. He registered the name since it was the only legally protectable part that wouldn't restrict the community, which was still a very noble concern on the guy's part. He also began formally requesting marketplace sellers to stop labeling their packages as the original SkyBlock. But Microsoft's response was the worst possible. As usual, they just ignored it. An official response dismissed the complaint as meritless, ending the requests. After that, complete silence as if nothing had happened. The maps kept being sold and the profits kept coming in. But when the trademark registration was about to be approved, what had the potential to end all this stress? A decisive move occurred in January 2021. Microsoft and 11 other marketplace companies united to oppose the registration of the name SkyBlock. And their argument is simple: SkyBlock would be too generic a term to belong to anyone. In other words, it's so famous that now it can't belong to you anymore. With that objection, the registration was left pending, essentially the legal equivalent of pulling the handbrake in the middle of the road. It's neither denied nor approved, and while pending, the author has little legal ground to challenge commercial use of the name. The map is his, the story is his, the cultural impact is his, but the name, which is the only thing he wanted to register, is legally left hanging in the air. The company's logic is simple. If SkyBlock becomes a generic term, they won't need to rename anything or admit their map isn't original and can keep benefiting from it. They continue selling as usual with the same search power and keyword appeal. However, if the brand is identified as NoobCrew's property, the situation changes entirely. They would have to change the title, alter the marketing, remove misleading phrases, and most importantly, they would lose the immediate effect of someone searching for SkyBlock in the store and ending up finding their product. There's still an ironic, infuriating part of the story that really angers many people. NoobCrew did what the community always praises. He let SkyBlock be shared culture for over a decade. Now that's being used against him. The companies argue that if everyone has always used it, the name is now generic and he can't charge for it anymore. In short, the generosity that made SkyBlock a global phenomenon praised by all ages is now treated as legal proof that he shouldn't have the right to his own name. See, you're too nice and you just get screwed over. And the sad thing is, this isn't an isolated case. There are similar precedents. For example, the well-known Ether mod caused many people's first disappointment in life. Who here has never tried to make a glowstone portal with water and got frustrated? It hurts more than getting rejected by a brunette anyway. This mod was copied and sold on the marketplace without the involvement of the original creators. The same thing happened with Fateful, one of the most popular texture packs ever made. Everyone from back then has seen a video from Tasercraft, Venom, or another creator using this texture. In both cases, Microsoft acted only after the community began discussing it. The correction wasn't preventive or ethical, it was reactive and forced by public pressure. Even with obvious copying, rules only change after a scandal. On platforms like Roblox and Fortnite, the behavior was different. When NoobCrew requested projects named SkyBlock to be renamed, those responsible complied. No one argued or filed lawsuits. The warning led to a good faith name change, but the conflict escalated into war once money was involved. That's when the truth is clear. The marketplace not only allows copies but rewards those who support it. The business model promotes repeating known formulas, copying popular names, and selling them as originals. It generates revenue in a cold, unusual way. Note, on YouTube, everyone copies each other. And the problem only really exists when the real owner or the community decides to complain. But even then, it's unlikely that any action will be taken. And this is where the million-dollar question comes in. How has this whole process been for NoobCrew? Is there any prospect of change? In reality, the answer is not positive. This situation has consumed NoobCrew's life for at least 4 years. A guy on his own, paying out of his own pocket, facing a line of lawyers paid by 12 companies, including one of the biggest tech corporations on the planet. In other words, to sum it up, he's going through an absurd amount of stress, and it's unlikely he'll be able to hold out long-term against giants in court. During the dispute, he had to surrender personal documents, internal records, messages, and endure a 7-hour deposition. It felt less like a conversation or interview and more like a legal interrogation by teams and collective defense. All this while, the attorney's fees keep ticking, and each week of the lawsuit means more money burned just to avoid losing his own name. One more detail makes it even crueler: companies can appeal indefinitely. Ultimately, even if NoobCrew won a round, they could just appeal and restart the game, dragging it out until he could no longer afford to continue. It's a war of attrition, not necessarily to win on merit, but to win by what? Exhaustion. And the risk isn't small either. If he loses, he'll lose not only the registration, but also the right to use SkyBlock in any future project. He always said his plan included making the original concept a standalone game, separate from Minecraft. In practical terms, he would be forbidden from using the name of the thing he himself created, while others would keep selling versions of it as if they were theirs. The scariest part of this story may not be what happens to NoobCrew, but what comes after. Because if the company's argument goes through, what are we seeing being born? Precedent, of course. Any viral Minecraft creation can be repeated until saturated, then resold by third parties as an official product. If the creator complains, just give it a generic name to remove their last right. The institution says, we took it because it got too big to stay yours. That also happens on YouTube. If someone has a somewhat original idea, others copy it until it's too widespread to belong to one creator. In no time, a corporate machine can take the wheel. Ultimately, this story matters because SkyBlock is more than a famous map. It's part of the game's collective memory. Created by a 15-year-old with a generational idea, it's now the subject of a lawsuit and broader discussion. Finally, you might be wondering how the case is going now. NoobCrew even launched a public petition to register his map authorship. But honestly, despite all the noise, it doesn't seem to have been very successful. According to public information, the case continued with procedural movements until January 2025, but there is no final public decision. The situation remains unresolved due to ongoing opposition. We know that cases like this can drag on for years because, as I already said, this has been going on for at least 4 years. If you've watched this far, we're already friends. Like and follow me on Instagram at EIMINE77.